the body turns that glucose into ATP, adenotriphosphate. That is the energy current of the body. So that is what makes the muscles move, makes you. That's why you find, I'll go short for a few seconds. You find these people who do a lot of strenuous work, they don't gain weight. You find the guy eats a lot of portion. It's because his calorie output is very high. He uses a lot of that glucose for his muscles.
Yes.
So insulin comes into play when you take these carbohydrates, this glucose,
Yes.
and it cannot be used. For example, you're not a hardworking person, your muscles don't use a lot of this glucose. So the glucose converts it into a storage form. And that storage form is called glycogen. That glycogen is stored in the liver and in the muscles. That comes into play when, for example, you've eaten food and now you need to use the energy, but it's in moderated amounts, like for walking, so that you don't just collapse and it keeps coming out slowly by slowly. Yeah, so basically that's what insulin does. So you find that for people who are diabetic, they don't have enough of this insulin. There are two types of diabetes. There's type 1 and type 2. For type 1, your body doesn't produce enough insulin. So you find, that's why you find this person has a high blood sugar content. And also that has a lot of disadvantages and problems. So this insulin helps take away that sugar. So if it's not, if its production is interrupted, this sugar now remains in the body and it causes toxicity in all those organs. So that's why you find this person has to find a solution. Either usually the drugs we give are anti-hyperglycemic drugs. These are, in simple terms, these are drugs that improve the sugar actually. Okusabulula that sugar. And there are those that stimulate the pancreas to produce more sugar, more insulin. Yeah, so that is what insulin does, basically.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. For the guys that have just joined, now this is the first time I'm doing a co-hosting live broadcast. So if there is something that did not go right in the beginning, please forgive me. But we are joined by Dr. Jonathan, and Friday is normally Question Friday, but today is Health Question Friday. This is the time that you get to consult Dr. Jonathan for free. Any health related question. So he has been telling me the benefits of fasting. For the guys that were on the live broadcast on Monday, I did ask Dr. Jonathan what intermittent fasting meant, and he gave me an answer, and he told me you can fast for a period of time and eat for a period of time, which I've tried. I've done 18 hours for 4 days consecutively, and today I really want to do it today so that I do it for the 5th day, and it feels great. I feel lighter. Mama Ban has told me that I've actually lost the 3 kgs from what she sees. I'm going to measure myself today. So you can ask any health related question. Before we get to your questions, I want to ask Dr. Jonathan one more question. It's related to we guys that drive, because since this channel is mostly for car lovers, it means most of these guys are either driving literally every day. We have people that I've seen that already drive, like Musomesa Samuel Sisi. He loves his wish. He has his wish valmatic. So since we drive for most of the times, and then when we get to work, of course, Musomesa Samuel, Katiya Somesamu, he does choke work and all that. But for the guys that don't do that, drive and then see most of their times, what are some of the things they can do to make sure that they are healthy, they don't get pot bellies, they don't get love handles, and basically they don't become obese or become unhealthy? What are some of the things that they can do, especially if they live in town?
Mm. So basically, what you need to understand,
Mm.
you need to create a what they call a calorie deficit
A what?
in your body. Calorie deficit.
Uh-huh.
You can either create it by increasing the output or decreasing the input. You
Mm-hmm.
can decrease the input by reducing the amount of food you eat.
Mm.
That is one. You can
Mm.
increase the output by increasing your physical activity.
Mm.
The best example is jogging.
Mm.
Those HIIT exercises,
Mm.
cardio. Cardio is very good.
Mm.
Yeah, but from the research I've seen,
Mm.
actually it exercise contributes to only around 20% of your body weight, but it's healthy. The most
Mm.
important thing, if you want to keep your weight in check, it is your diet. Your diet is very important.
Mm.
So if you live that kind of lifestyle, me personally, what I do, because I kind of live that lifestyle, although I exercise a bit,
Mm.
I reduce the amount of meals I eat, first of all.
Mm.
Then you can have some few days of fasting. If you fast one day in a week, oh, because me, I go 36 hours to
Mm.
fast, and it helps me a lot. I got used to it. So with that, you'll be able to balance so that your body does not store a lot of unused food, let's say,
Mm.
unused glucose.
Mm.
So it's basically just that. Mm.
So reduce the amount of her. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Kati olaba nsiibye zino ennaku ttaano. Emmere egenda
Kitegeera.
kungwako. Kuba I'm going to eat.
Kitegeera.
So,
Naye
so
kati
we
what
have
you can do there,
mm,
you try and eat what they call fillers.
what they call what?
Fillers. Like these are foods that have a low calorie content, but they fill your stomach.
Mm,
Fruits,
mm,
salads, cucumber,
mm.
purpose, such things. You get full, but remember what I talked about psychological hunger, emotional hunger. It will take
Eh,
some. It takes some time actually to get used to it, because when your body is used to having a certain amount of glucose surging in the blood, even if you're not
mm,
hungry, it will stimulate your mind, your brain
mm,
centers, the hunger centers in your brain to make you think that you're hungry.
mm,
Because for them, they directly check for the blood glucose in the blood. They don't check the stomach, and so it takes some time getting used to.
mm,
And you can get also the green teas, the herbal teas.
mm.
They are very good. Me personally, I use herbal teas and stevia as
Yeah.
the sweetener. I don't use artificial sweeteners. Stevia is a good option.
Mm.
Yeah, I
Oh.
told you there's an echo. There's an echo this side. Someone is talking about it.
There is an
Mm.
echo. Is it coming from
Mm.
my side? Let me try to mute myself. Dr. Jonathan, keep talking so that we know if they can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh yeah, yeah. It's your microphone. Now I don't hear the echo anymore. So I don't know what we shall do. You
Mm.
ask a question and you mute and I answer, then I also mute and I don't
Okay,
even
now,
how they do it.
Dr. Jonathan, before we go, can you see the comments?
The comments come and they go away. Let me
Uh,
see. Top chats, live chats, all visible comments. Oh yeah, I see them now.
you see them? So,
Yes.
what we are going to do is for
Mm.
now, I'm going to let you answer those people's questions. I'm going to
Mm.
mute myself. You read the questions and then you answer them. Okay?
Okay. Let me
So,
see.
I'm muting myself now.
Mm. Okay, there's a question by Bukenya Abi. My question is about foot fungal infections whose signs are toe decay. Oh, toe decay. Wound crack. I think you meant crack in the feet. How do I treat? Um, okay, that's the first. I'm going to answer that. Then there's JK. I read an article where they are warning against using artificial sweetener. Yeah, you're right. Actually, encourage the use of natural sugars in moderation if one can't do without sugar. Yes. Yeah. I'll get back to that. Let me first answer this Abby's question. Yeah, fungal foot infections. These are usually very stubborn, by the way. They're usually very stubborn, and they hard to treat. But usually, if you go to a doctor and he prescribes, he'll typically prescribe an antifungal. He might give you a cream depending on the extent of the infection. He might give you a cream. He might give you a cream which you'll use for 10 to 14 days. If they are beyond, if they've crossed into the nails, I'm thinking you're talking of arthritis foot. There are these infections that come in between the toes. Yeah, sometimes they can even affect the nails, the toenails. If they infect the toenails, they might give you an antifungal, an oral antifungal for 14 days, 2 weeks, and that will work for you. Yeah, then you'll need to go back for review maybe. And if that doesn't work, they might need to take a skin scrape and go and view it in the lab and see the kind of fungus you have there, because there are also some resistant fungi. So you might have to use a stronger antifungal. Yeah, but that's basically it. So, but you need to see a doctor first. So that he makes the assessment and is able to give you the treatment the way it is. If you do it yourself or you go to the pharmacy, you might just spend your money for nothing, and in the end, you don't get the desired effect. But basically, to avoid these foot fungi, you need to keep your feet dry. Usually, and they happen a lot, by the way, with people who usually go to saunas. So basically, yeah, sauna is good, but basically, whenever you go to a sauna, try so much to bathe properly. Probably you should go with your own soap or your shampoo. So that you bathe properly, wash your feet, dry them, and put on your shoes. So when you don't dry them or if you don't wash, this fungi, which you've probably gotten from other people, because people walking around barefooted in sandals and it's a communal area. So they're able to inoculate your feet, and when you go back home and sleep, you get the infection. Yeah. So going back to JK's question. Mm, yeah. There's a research I also saw somewhere where they say that artificial sweeteners actually have the same effect as these other sugars, because they actually stimulate the liver to produce insulin, because the liver actually mistakes them, mistakes those artificial sugars for actually real sugar. So it was found that using those sweeteners actually had very little advantage. So artificial sweeteners, that's why you notice I said I use a natural sweetener, stevia. Stevia is inert. I've forgotten the term they use, but it's inert. The body does not convert it to anything. It just helps sweeten your food, your tea, or whatever you're taking. So yeah, that is true. And there's also another paper I saw somewhere where they were talking about these artificial sweeteners used in these soft drinks, Zero Coke, these Diet Cokes, Diet Pepsi, that they've been linked to a certain kind of cancer. I've forgotten which one it is. You'll Google and see. but they've been linked to a certain kind of cancer. Although they couldn't directly bring it out because these are big corporations, so they couldn't castigate them directly, but it's better you stay away from those. So you're actually right. Those artificial sweeteners are not good. So looking for more questions here. Oh yeah, there is Uganda Bernard. Someone was trying to explain to me a condition called angina, but that person was too technical in the language, and I surely didn't understand anything. Help me go about it here. Yeah, so angina actually it's a Greek word because most of our medical terms come from Greek. It's just they are prefixes from the Greek language which are turned into English. So it basically describes a pain you get, a referred pain you get in your chest when you're about to have a heart attack. This pain comes about when the blood vessels supplying the heart, they are called coronary arteries. When they get blocked, they can be blocked by an embolus. An embolus is a foreign body in the blood, a solid foreign body. It can be air, it can be a piece of fat. Yeah, it can be a piece of fat or a blood clot. So when they block, when an emboli blocks a blood vessel that supplies the heart cannot work because now it's not getting its nutrients, it's not getting the ATP I talked about, adenotriphosphate, the energy currency of the body. It's not getting oxygen. It cannot remove carbon dioxide. So it gets what word should I use? It gets choked, to use simple terms. And when it gets choked, that muscle stops working properly. And when it stops working properly, there is buildup of all those waste products, lactic acid, carbon dioxide, and that causes that pain. So that pain you feel it here in your, it's typically described as a crushing pain. In our medical literature, they usually describe it as, the patient will describe it as a crushing pain, like you feel a heavy weight on your chest. And then sometimes whenever it comes, it moves towards the shoulder and the back. So that is what angina is, and it's very dangerous. Very, very few people survive when it gets to that. So if you're not nearby a medical professional, or if they can't administer first aid very fast or take you to a hospital, you're most likely going to die. It's one of the last signs that things are not good for you. So even that Bernard, that's what angina is. I think I've answered you. If you need clarification, you can let me know. Then there is Semusu Wilbur. I have a problem of stomach ulcers, and they stopped me from using coffee and acidic stuff, but still the pain comes. Yes, stomach ulcers, by the way, are very common these days because when we were still studying, we were taught that these stomach ulcers usually affect adults. But these days, you find even kids. You find a kid of 5 years, 6 years. The youngest I've seen was 6 years with ulcers. We did a test on them, and they were positive. So they are quite rampant now. But what you need to do, you need to go to the hospital, and they do a few tests on you, because there are two types of ulcers. They are stress-induced and they are infective ones. So the purpose of that test is to find out which ones you have. So when we find out the kind of ulcers you have, it's easier for you to treat. And most people believe ulcers are incurable, but I myself used to have ulcers, but I treated them and I got better. So completely curable. Yeah, I think I've answered you. you need to go to the hospital and they do a test and you get the treatment. Mm. Okay. Yes, good morning, Mugalasi Joshua. Ah, so there's Stephen Barunji. I get migraines. I have tried many hospitals. They say these don't have a cure. Are you sure they say that? Um, will I pass them to my daughter? Are migraines genetic? Yes and no. Just sorry, Stephen Barunji. Migraines. Um, Migraines have a wide spectrum of causes. You'll need to do a number of tests, but some are curable. Some we just try to alleviate the symptoms and try to make this patient's life more comfortable. But you need to see what they call a neurologist. There are many around. You probably were not seeing the right specialist. Yeah, but I cannot really tell you if yours uh, will be passed on. But in most cases, migraines are genetic and might be passed on, but they usually come later in life and they have a lot of inducing factors. And as I said, the spectrum is wide. The inducing factors range from even the diet, the kind of stresses you live in. If you live a stressful life, if you're eating badly, um, probably if you're also not healthy, and sometimes even hormones, mostly in women, the hormonal changes when they are tending towards menopause, they tend to get migraines. So I don't know. You need to see a neurologist, and they need to examine you thoroughly. They might need to do an EEG. That's a test about they do the way they do a test to see the how the brain conducts the brain circuits, the nervous system, how it's conducting electricity around it. They might also need to do a MRI or CT scan, but they are curable. But in most cases, they're age related. At a certain age, some people just start getting migraines. But there is medication we give to alleviate the symptoms of migraines. Yeah. JK, would a defibrillator help in such a situation? Yes, because in this case, the defibrillator, that word also disturbs me. The defibrillator, its main purpose is to jumpstart. Like if we are to use the car terms, it's when you know that thing where in these manual cars where you when the starter is dead or the battery is dead and you go downhill and to jumpstart.
okutegula.
Kutegula. Kyekyo. So the defibrillator ebeera etegula omutima. Naye kati in this case, omutima gubeera the heart muscle is okay. Naye nga tegufuna biri ebyetaagisa. So in that case, usually what we do, you can defibrillate oguba gustoppingidde ddala. Naye you have to supplement with oxygen. There are certain drugs we give. There's a drug called nitroprusside. We give it and it helps kibeera kigusindiikiriza omutima maybe negugezaako kukozesa accessory blood vessels ezo endala naye nga in that situation ekibeera kirina okukolebwa it is a coronary bypass. Coronary bypass okubypassinga akantu ako kajjawo. Naye nga in an emergency situation you might need to just it can work. Obadde obuuza ki? I'm going off topic. Yeah, it can help, but it is used by a medical profession with precaution. Because ate oyinza okugyawo sinus rhythm y'omutima. Sinus rhythm ye engeri gye gukubamu. Odefibrillating nga tegulina ku defibrillatingira, obeera ogudisorganizing. Bukenya Abby, let me hurry up, questions are becoming many. Talk about detox. Are they good to be used? No, there is nothing like that. Detox, the body is designed. Bino ogamba bino bi detox abantu bye batunda, these herbal people, tebikola munnange bakulimba bulimbi. The body has its own internal systems that regulate all these things. For you, what you can do is just to assist it. Osobola guyambako buyambi by eating healthy, exercising, like augmenting, kuyambako bino ebisengejja omusaayi, the detoxifying organs, to help them, keeping them healthy and help in their function. Drinking a lot of water, exercising, eating healthy, fasting, behavior, and they are basically two. Oh yeah, not actually three. That is the kidney, the liver, and the skin. The skin also, by the way, is a very important excretory organ. So kati wotuyanamuko once in a while kiba kirungi also, naye bino bibawa nti detoxifying. Medically they don't really do anything, and in some cases they do more harm than good. Okay. Doctor, whenever I eat local food, this is Edwin Mugerwa. Whenever I eat local food like matoke, I feel like I have too much gas in the stomach. Okay. What you might be having ulcers, because matoke causes the activation of that pepsinogen to pepsin, which is an active form of that acid in the stomach. So you might be having ulcers that are being irritated by that pepsin in the stomach, or you might, if you've been having it for long, from when you are born, then you might be having what they call irritable bowel syndrome. This is just an allergy to certain foods. So whenever you take that in, it causes the stomach to react to that. So you may be just allergic to that, and there are also treatments for that. And so you need to, but most probably it is, this is one of the rare things I'm talking about, but in most cases it is ulcer.
naye dokita
Yes.
Edwin tali mu kutwesomerako. Edwin ndaba ali mu kutwesomerako era ddala Edwin loko food zize ezireeta gaasi.
Naye kibaawo bambi kyayogera kisoboka bulungi.
Kati ekitegeeza
Omuntu oba olina ulcers, amatooke gakola bubi nnyo era abantu abasinga binyeebwa, bijanjaalo, matooke, deactivatinga gundi acid eyo negenda mu gundi ezo ziri inflamed eza ulcer.
kale genda maaso n'ebibuuzo byo.
Kale okay. Mugalasi Joshua, good morning doctor. What causes goiter? They operated my mom, but she must take tablets every day to feel better. So goiter, there's an organ in front of this this airway. It's called a thyroid gland. So the causes for that, the swelling of that, because goiter is basically swelling of that organ. It is a number of things. It is a number of things that can cause that swelling. It can be a shortage of iodine when it's trying to, because iodine is the raw material it uses. That's why when we're young, even now, they encourage us to eat salt that has iodine in it. So that iodine is the raw material for making those the hormones that that organ produces. The hormone is called thyroxine, T3 and T4. They are abbreviated as that. So if the raw material is small, per se the iodine, this body is amazing. When the raw material is small, it sometimes thinks that it is the cells inside it are the ones that are not working properly. So it will increase the number of cells it has in itself. I don't know if I'm trying so much to use simple terms. I'm not, for the medical people, they might think that Peter Walanyo naye, I'm trying to use simple terms here. Naye egezaako okubuildinga more cells within itself so that it absorbs more of the iodine, in which case the iodine is not there. So osanga omuntu oli nga gundi eyo esweringa nga yeyongera obunene, naye nga kiva ku gundi kulackinga iodine. Ate oluusi ekirala osanga nga worst case scenario, sigamba nti maama wo kyalina, osanga nga kiri cancerous, thyroid gland eyo bwebeera cancerous, ezo cells nazo zibeera zikula nnyo, they grow at a very fast rate. So in some cases, or in another instance, you find that these cells also, they might not be cancerous, but when they are also overgrowing, they are producing so much thyroxine nga zikula nnyo, it might be benign. Benign kitegeeza nti ekintu kikula nnyo naye nga tekiri cancerous, naye nga there is potential of it becoming cancerous. So probably agamba kerenda gaamira gayinza okuba nga gakusuppressinga cells ezo zireme kukula nnyo na producing a lot of that thyroxine. China most probably it's thyrotoxicosis. Kati eddagala lyakureducinga, kati kijja kisinza kubanga kati I've not seen medical forms since agamba nti oba it's going to go in, naye nga alina okukola test. Waliwo test z'abeera akola, I think it's every month to 3 months, nga batestinga balaba levels za thyroxine eyo T3 and T4 eziri mu musaayi. So kati zebakozesa okujajinga ne bamanya nti no, we are going to give this medication to reducing tuki like that. So abeera alina okukola thyroid function test eyo n'okumira eddagala eryo. Simanyi if I've been very clear. Thanks. I got that because I thought Kabotogo effect. Kabotongo. Uganda Bernard, elaborate what migraines are. The pathophysiology of migraines is very complicated. As I said, migraines is just headache. And then migraines, most people confuse migraines for other types of headaches. There is what they call cluster headaches. They are the migraines. They are basically a headache. Most people confuse them for migraines. So, Kati, if you tell me to explain this now, we might finish at 11. So basically, maybe you need to, as I said, you might need to see a neurologist, can get you a contact later. You see him, he tells you the type of headache you have. Then we move along those, because the headaches, that's a whole course unit 7. Bintu bingi nnyo, I can't really explain all the headaches that are there, because there are even space occupying lesions going on, maybe swelling somewhere in the head. So you'll need to see a doctor first, and they tell you the kind of headache you have. Good morning, Gabriel from Uganda. Doctor, I'm losing my hair. Whenever I'm in shower, my hair drops. Do you know any supplements that can increase hair growth? Because I'm just 30, and in our family, we don't have baldness. Oh, okay. That's not good. You may need to see a doctor. You may need to see a doctor, and they do some tests on you, because you might be lacking something that's causing your hair not to be firm. You might be lacking something in your diet. You'll need to see a doctor. You need to see a doctor early. If you're just 30 and there is no history of hair loss in the family, you might need to see a doctor as soon as possible. Okay. Another thing is, what is the solution to nature code? Because my wife is pregnant and the baby has any recommendations? Now this is I don't want to contradict the management they are giving your wife from another hospital. I think you need, because I'm sure wherever you are, the doctors are doing the right management for your wife. So you need to consult with her gyne, or with the doctors that are seeing your child, the pediatricians. Oh, you say she's pregnant. Yeah, you need to see your gyne or your doctor, and look at the options with them, because this would be out of order. Me to be on a live and try to manage a patient that I'm not looking at. So you'll need to talk to your doctor and come up with a solution with them. It's okay. You can talk to them. By the most people fear doctors. You have to ask. As long as you're paying consultation fee, you have the right to ask your doctor anything. And most patients don't know there is what they call a patient charter. A patient charter actually protects a patient, and it's even on the internet. I think it's there. It has the duties of the medical professionals and the rights of their patients. So Katiao, it is actually your right to ask your doctor to explain to you everything they are doing on your body or on your patient in details, because that is what you're paying for. Now you find so basically talk to your doctor and they explain to you the options and what needs to be done. Doctor, I'm also developing a patch. Even Bernard. Doctor, I'm also developing a patch in my beard from nowhere. A patch? What do you mean a patch? I'm not sick, but my beard is developing a bald patch. How old are you? What am I supposed to do? A bald patch. Kiyinza okuba nga kisente, a fungal infection. Kisoboka. Because this beard, because it's close to the mouth. By the human mouth is very dirty. It might be the dirtiest part on your body. Woba nga omuntu kikinga
Doctor,
oseka
the mouth,
kikyate.
the dirtiest part on the body.
Kati kankubuulire, kasita ofuna human bite, that's one of the most dangerous things you can get. Omuntu ng'akulumye n'otagenda mu ddwaliro, osobola ofuna infection embi ennyo n'akuluma ne wajjawo ekiwundu. The human mouth is very dirty. So kati abantu abasinga waliwo ababeera ne bino ebirevu nga bingi nnyo, kati oluusi mubeeramu ebintu saagala ate kulabisa nnyo, bakuyita kulabisa.
Tulabise dokita, ate tunaakola ki? Mubaamu ki? Mubaamu ebiwuka.
So kati atwala eri naawe. So anyway, ekirevu ekyo okikipinga, olina okigrooming obulungi, ate you have to wash it. Olina okiteekamu ssente kubanga kiri kumpi n'omumwa guno. Buli lw'oyogera saliva biki bacteria eyo zigenda ne ziyingira mu kirevu ekyo. So keeping it clean is very important. So kati oyinza osanga ng'ekirevu ekyo kikutawaanya, oyinza okwetaaga okisalako oba okitriminga obulungi. Nabadde nkomyewa.
Okomye kuyibanda Benard. Kati bisobola Ibrahim yaddako.
Okay. Hello, Doctor. My name yeah, this happens a lot. Usually, when a woman gives birth, there is a way they emotionally get disconnected from their husband. Emotional connection negative. Kati eyo issue muyinza okuba nga you need to discuss it with her first. N'akubuulira why nemwogera n'akubuulira ensonga lwaki ekyo kibeerawo. Kuba bino ebintu bya kudiscuss. Women are emotional, they are emotional creatures. Oyinza okuba nga oyagala sex naye nga gwe ofuna sex olina omutwala in a certain process. Nga gwe oyinza okuba ojja buzinga. So musooke mu discussinge naye mulabe. Oba you may have to consult a counselor mwogere mulabe, naye it happens, kibaawo. Naddala omwana akyali muto akyayonsa akamala okuyonsa. Usually the emotional connection evaako ku mwami nedda ku mwana. Okay, Access News. Hata soko jeko microphone.
Kweri.
Okay, Doctor, I work in a cancer hospital and it's in one of the first world countries. But patients die a lot and it's scary with the health care they get. So I keep wondering, what can someone do not to get cancer? Yes, Access News, first of all, a lot of research. We've made a lot of progress in research on cancer. Now, up to now, there is no paper that actually tells you that this is the actual cause of cancer. That's why cancer muzibu nnyo. No one knows what causes cancer. Now, there are a lot of, in the research they've done, batunuulidde ebintu bingi bye balabye ebiri associated to cancer. So kati ebyo tugezaako okujja mu bulamu bwaffe. Kyova olaba kugamba nti you have to keep physically active, nywa nnyo amazzi, reduce the amount of sugar you're taking, reduce stress. Naye teri muntu yenna asobola okugamba nti cancer ali caused by this and this. Mpozi wali eziri direct ate ziri very rare, eziri caused by maybe bino irradiation ebyagundi ezo simanyi babiyita mu Luganda. Naye waliyo ebyuma letting off those energy beams. Ezi irradiating ezo gamma radiation n'ibiki ezo ziri rare kubanga there's a lot of regulation on how those machines are used. So eyo tebikyali nedda waalingayo gundi asbestos gwali bateekanga ku roofs. Naye byonna regulations zatuyamba. Naye kati cancer kyali muzibuzibu. No one knows what causes cancer. So you just need to adhere to what you do what needs to be done. Live a healthy lifestyle, try to exercise, eat healthy, and do regular checkups. Ojja kuba osobola okureducinga your chances of getting certain kinds of cancer. Yeah, ate in those first world countries, although in a problem, it's now crossing more to our developing countries because the gap is narrowing. Kubanga in the olden days, we used to eat healthy. We used to eat natural foods from the ground, no processed foods. We used to be very active people. Nga abazungu beba living that certain life eyo kubeera mu mamotoka biki naye kati the pyramid is inverting. Kati abazungu bagezaako kati okulivinga healthy lifestyle ate kati ffe bagezaako kuadaptinga life zaabwe okulya bibaga sausages biki and unfortunately ffe tulowooza that is the good life ng'ate bo baagala bivaamu. Kyova olaba you find fruits eyo bintu nga fruits biki those natural things are actually very expensive. Naye kati wojja eno osanga nga bikfc bye biri expensive byabantu byebogomba. Yeah, so basically that's it. Just live a healthy lifestyle, ne regular checkups. Cancer ojja kuba osobola okumu alleviating. Okay, JK, I started losing my hair at the age at the end of my first year in Europe. I'm the only bald person on both my mom and dad's side. With the exception of my late maternal grandpa. Yes, hair loss is basically genetic. Naye kati oyinza osanga nga because even hair loss has a factor to do with the kind of diet you're having. Kati ndowooza when you went to Europe, lifestyle gye walimu yali very different from the one here. Kuba nange I traveled to Europe some years back. Naye when naliyo the first week was very difficult for me. Nagendayo, my lips were drying, nga seetega olubuto lunuma buli kaseera, diarrhea biki. So it might be the change of the diet or the lifestyles there, nga even the weather nga affecting certain hormones in your body. So you'll need to talk to your health practitioner. Akole some tests on akole some hormone titers, testosterone, byonna ebyo abikebere. Akubuulire. Good morning, doctor. I'm a clinical officer, but I have realized people these days. Oh, clinical officer. Yes. Usinje Mark, thanks for the good work. I have realized people these days cannot differentiate between epigastric pain and heart palpitations. How best can you explain to a layman person? Hey, you're right. But from my experience, actually, these two usually come at the same time. Omuntu nga alina ulcers. Ajasooka akugambe, they will tell you that whenever I'm hungry, mpulira omutima nga guneewuuba nnyo. Mpulira omutima nga guneewuuba, oba ng'enjala ennuma, mpulira olubuto nga lwenyoola. So usually for me what I do, omubuuza, owulira wano waggulu wano ku mutima nga wookyerera. Do you feel like a burning sensation up here? Up just below the heart? Usually that's where the pain is. Wano weewat? Just below the heart. Kati ajja kubuulira. Kati osobola n'omubuuza associated symptoms. Does it come when you're hungry or when you've eaten? Kijja weebaseemu when you're lying down or when you're seated up? It will give you a better explanation, a better direction to take nga omuntu omunnyonnyola. I don't know if I've answered you. Palpitations gubeera mutima nga gwewuuba. You can actually hear your own heart. That's not supposed to happen. Era, if anyone here is on this live, and when you sit there, you hear something in your ears like toot, 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 nga towuliza, that is a warning sign. Your heart is warning you of something going on inside there.
Doctor,
Yes.
this thing that we hear when nzibiriza amaaso nnyo nnyo, then I hear, ooh, what's that?
Hey, that's tinnitus. That has to do with the nervous system of the ears, and that is, it has a lot of associations. Kubanga kati ebintu bino usually, kubanga the body, it's a whole system. It has so many things. Erimu ebintu bingi, so they are interconnected. Kati tinnitus eyo eyinza okuba nga eri associated with a certain kind of headache, cluster headache oba migraines. Eyinza okuba nga eri, it is something to do with the hormones, oba you might be dehydrated, oba it might be an infection. Bintu bingi nnyo. So basically emirimu gye tukola gino giri complicated. You have to see a doctor n'akuexamininga bulungi n'agezaako kulaba what exactly is disturbing you. Kubanga okumugamba nti no, your ears are ringing, abeera tajja funa a proper perspective of what is happening. Comments zikomyewo zibadde zivuddeko. Okay, Chairman Zach was asking, okay, good morning. Please talk about protein mass gainer food supplements. How good or dangerous are they? Because unlike Arthur, who is cutting weight, I'm intending to gain weight fast. Why are you intending to gain weight fast? Why are you intending to gain weight? This is very bad for your body.
Dr. Kangezeeko kunnyonnyola. Emirimu egimu gye tukola, some of the jobs we do, like us, the self-employed people, they look at you and they judge how much money they should pay you based on how heavy you look. Yes. Probably, before you talk about the mass gainers, I can try and advise my brother there. The best way for you to gain weight is to go to the gym, lift weights and gain muscle, not the fats. Even me, I want to gain, I want the weight, but I don't want the fats. That's why I'm fasting now, to cut the fats, so that when I go to the gym, I can get weight.
Yes, very true. Arthur is actually very right. What you're trying to do, what your aim should be, is to gain muscle weight, not fat weight. Ate muscle is much heavier than fat. So kati oyinza okubeera awo nga oliftinga, gwe tolabawo change, naye ng'olaba gw'ogenda ku scale yeebeera ejja kulaga ng'oyengeddemu 1 kilogram, naye nga gw'olaba, naye basically munda you'll feel healthier. Gaining fat, muganda wange, ebizibu byoyagala okwereetera. I don't know how old you are, naye oh yeah, you talked about these mass gainers. What I know about those mass gainers, they're usually protein and creatinine. Yes, those ones, what they do, they provide food for the muscles to grow bigger. Yes, that's what they do. Simanyi if I'm mistaken. They provide
Are
food
they
for the
healthy?
muscles.
Are they healthy? Because I've also wanted to take them before for more mass, but then I've read certain places, not really research, but I've read certain articles where they say they are not very healthy. Of course, there are some people that say they are good, like creatine. They say it even helps boost the brain function and all that. But of course, these are things that we just read from guys that are obviously promoting the products. So are they? I think what is wants to know is, are they healthy?
Complicated question again. But you need to get those that are from reputable companies, because most of the ones from reputable companies, they're FDA approved. FDA is the regulatory body in the US. Iyo kati ye gold standard gye tulina okugenderako. If something is not a product of the US and it's not a medicine, please avoid it. If it is a supplement, if it's not being used in the first world countries, I would advise you to avoid it. And usually the way they take them, it is just before a workout. So kati moderation is key. Ng'obikozesa only when you're going to work out, mostly those ebyo ebiina creatinine. Kuba usually bintu bibeeramu bibeeramu gundi molecules eziri active, eziri metabolically active, eziyinza okuaffectinga hormones zo. Kati it's about taking something that has been approved. Ebyo abantu beeri kuba abo gundi zaabwe ziri stringent nnyo, toyinza kuleeta kintu kigenda okukola ki okukozinga obuzibu ku bantu. Ate you use it in the right way it's supposed to be used, sigi overusing oba misusing. Kuba usually nze kyemanyi ezo bazitekinga either just before a workout or after. Si bikozesa all the time. We're not following the manufacturer's guidelines on how to use them. I think that's it. Even I'm just 30 years. I don't remember the question. You're just 30 years, Even. Let me first finish with this. I'll come back. Good morning, Dr. Jonathan. Yes, good morning, Antonio. Member services. JK, Dr. Ayagala kutugoba Bukenya Abbey. It happened to me about the gastric stomach when I returned home in Uganda. Nga always pass gas out. There is something you are eating that was not nga tekolagana bulungi with your stomach, with your gut. In this case, when I returned home, yes, kati gova bweru. Have you heard of what they call probiotics? You can try those. Those, we have good bacteria in our stomachs. Good bacteria and good fungi. The good yeast, which that bacteria feeds on. So sometimes what is often irritable bowel syndrome, passing that gas or utokulumirira, you might find that that good bacteria is called normal flora. You might find it's running out. So kati you might need to take those. Because usually ganamala gagetumira, even just stress. Natolya bulungi, olya junk food, biki, it kills off that good bacteria. But your good bacteria you know kubeeramu. So kati jokuba wetaaga okukumirako ezo probiotics zikuyambeko. What's the right food treatment for sinuses? Ronald Waswa, I think you mean sinusitis, because sinuses, that is a normal body part. Sinuses are spaces within the nasal cavities, the paranasal and nasal cavities. Those are the ones that help you to vocalize. The way your voice sounds, it's a contribution to those sinuses. Ziri spaces, there are spaces where air passes. Nebeera reflected mundu omwo, kati eddoboozi we livaayo libeera lirina a certain characteristic. So that is what they call sinuses. Kati sinusitis gye ndowooza gy'otegeeza, that is a disease affecting those spaces. The epithelial lining of those spaces, ennyama ebeeramu mundu omwo. Kati treatment yaayo simanyi symptoms ky'olina era ani yagambye nti olina sinuses. Kubanga abantu abasinga you misdiagnose yourself. Kati era nja kugamba genda olabe omusawo akugambye nti olina sinuses atreatinge. toyinza gwe yennyini kwegamba nti nina sinuses, sinusitis. Sinuses kya bulijjo, buli omu alina sinuses. Those are parts, it is anatomically correct. Those are parts of the body zirina okubeerako. Antonia jeke era agitukubyeko. So okay. Edwin Mugerwa, doctor, often should I deworm myself? 6 months, every 6 months to 1 year. But 6 months it's advisable what you should do. Then Antonio, doctor, my appetite is very low. Even I rarely eat, but drink plenty of water daily. Are you physically active? Sometimes, usually, your body is just doesn't don't have the need for that food you're eating. Ng'obeera otudde butuuzi naye w'obeera physically active. In most cases, oba tolina kirwadde kyonna, tolina bikutawaanya, your appetite will come back. Kati beera more physically active, drink lots of fluids, sleep enough, appetite ejja kujja. Good morning. Okay. Good morning, everyone. What could be the cause or reason for having an itchy skin without any visible rashes? How long has this been? Have you been with that for quite some time? Bakitandise butandisi. Kiyinza okuba nga you're reacting to something. Simanyi wa gy'obeera, simanyi. Kiyinza okuba nga olina ky'oreactinga nakyo. Eyinza okuba nga mmere. Basically, it's an allergy. Eyinza okuba nga mmere oba your clothes, engoye oba ozambala ozigolodde, simanyi. I don't know, even your bed olina okuba nga okyusanga obuliri bwo.
Doctor.
Then also you might need to deworm. You're very right. I'm also okay. Mavo Gadget Center at Safe. On my side, it happened to me after called Lisa. Hey, Safe. Okay, Mavo Gadget. Usually, that is Arthur Soko Jeko. Okay, Mavo Gadget Center. Usually, that's an allergy. Kati mu primary ndooza mujjukira, they taught us about soft water and hard water. Some people are allergic to hard water. Ago amazzi gabeeramu calcium carbonate. So kati calcium carbonate wagenda ku skin y'omuntu afuna reaction eyo. So kati kyenyinza okuadvisinga, amazzi g'ogenda okunaaba gafumbeko. You might decide to bathe warm water and then noyongeramu kadito. It will help with that hard water. Okay, then Seth Kagaba. Are they in family of steroids? What? Are they in family? I heard that they have a long-term effect on a man's reproductive. What exactly are you asking?
Seth ayogera ku the mass gainers.
No, steroids are different. Steroids are injected. Sina steroid gye mmanyi ezo ez'aba bagundi bakanyamazi bakozesa nga it's just edible. Usually they are injections, beekuba mpiso. So they are not steroids actually. Okay. Johnson Rubinga, good morning everyone here. Doctor, a colleague has had monthly sores on the tongue and lips plus mumatama munda. Okay. Now recently on her throat since has treated since, but then no. Hey, kati wano me, I'm thinking of so many things. How old is your colleague? Usually zino sores zibeera ate mu bakazi zibeerawo nnyo naddala ng'ali in advanced age oba nga afuna akola emirimu egiri stressful kasita afunamu hormonal imbalances zikoozinga ezo sores okujja oral sores. That is nga bamucekinze bulungi, if they've checked her properly and she didn't have any other infections, taliyo ne long term treatment, talina infection emutawaanya nga tevaawo oba a chronic illness, ezo sores usually kibeera hormonal. kati ayina okulaba omusawo and they find a way of dealing with it. Oluusi kibeera even gundi an allergy to certain spices ezibeera mu mmere. Actually it's the most important one, mbadde nkyerabidde. Allergies to spices. Waliyo abantu abatatolerating certain spices mu mmere yaabwe gy'alina okuavoidinga. Kati ayinza okukozesa elimination method n'ategeera which spices exactly is causing ekyo ekintu. Actually that's the most likely cause. Then JK, I also understand that some medical research papers are sponsored by companies with the interest of promoting their products. They omit the results going against the company's interests. I've heard of that, but there are a lot of regulatory standards that have been put in place to curb this. It also depends. Kati paper you even look at the paper, the research paper you are looking at. First of all, it has to come from a reputable journal. Usually, what I use is the New England Journal of Medicine. Those are the papers I use usually. At Ezina, they have all sorts of papers in all sorts of fields, medical fields. So where are you getting this paper from? Is it a reputable journal? Waliwo ne kye bayita peer review. You gundi paper yo ogireleasinga and then your peers have to review it. These companies cannot bribe everyone. So kati it happens naye kisinziira. Papers nazo zirinamu quality zaazo. Okay, this is Johnson Luvinga. Visited microbiological laboratory. Give results, but the medication given failed. Visited microbiological laboratory. Given results, but the medication. So, Chantegede, you visited a lab. They did tests and they told you what you have and they gave you medication that did not work. Did you go back for review? Because sometimes these medications don't work. Depending on so many things, you might need a higher dose. The dose you might need to go for a longer time. That's why we have reviews after treatment. I don't know if you went back for your review. If you didn't, go back for the review. Talk to the doctor and see what they say. Okay, Seth Kagawa, Mavo Gadget Center. Yes, most especially after cold showers. I already answered that, so you know what to do. Okay, Andrew Subuga, that's to Arthur. Bukenya Abbey. But in Uganda now, everyone comes out with herbal medicine. Why? And they have a platform of advertising on them and in streets, shops, TVs, and most mystic. Very true. Very true. Now, some of these things, we see them. Now, there is nothing we can do because for us, we are highly regulated. Now, you see someone advertising something that is completely ridiculous. Nenga, you cannot say anything. Toina water and as a person. All you can do is to advise your patients. Now, that is very true. There is a herbalist that was arrested, I think, last week. And most of them do that. They crush this conventional medicine, put it in the budomolas, then also crush these leaves to give that green color. Olowooze nti onywa herbal naye ng'oli ku ddagala liri. Ate the disadvantage of that, you take a higher than normal dose. These drugs were designed to have a therapeutic dose because these are actually poisons. These ganamalagala g'abazungu, they are moderated poisons. Naye they are designed to be given at a certain dose whereby if they pass a certain what they call a therapeutic dose, it becomes now a poison. Chovola people are having kidney disease, liver disease, lumbar developing a cancer. It's because of misuse of these drugs. And there's extensive research for certain drugs to be put on the market, like certain antibiotics. like ciprofloxacin, those amumanyi, that's a simple example. It has been under research for almost 30 years. Almost 30 years before it was put on the market. Naye kati osanga oli giyita herbal research, they've not even done their research for even a year. Naye they're on the market, they've been given licenses. Naye that is our Uganda tewali kyakukola. Okay. Antonio, the truth is I don't sleep enough and I'm not physically active because my job is to sit. That's very bad. 14 hours sitting, no exercise. Ogenda kadiwa mangu sebo. You have to find a way of simanyi, of getting enough rest and being physically active. It is very important. Really important for the body. Johnson Lubinga. Doctor is now okay. Whenever you're adding on to the question you asked before, please retype the question. Kubanze abantu bangi mbeera nerabidde ky'obadde obuuza.
Johnson ayogera ku microbiology. You remember the microbiology question? Got results. Yeah. I think that's what they tested with 40 years.
I visited microbiology. No question. Visited microbiological laboratory, give results, but the medication failed. Which medication? Ayina ekirala kye yabuuza nanti singa buli kimu okiteeka mu layini emu wano kubanga abantu bangi sisobola ku. Okay, I don't want to do one.
I've seen the question. Agamba, good morning, doctor. Colleague has had monthly sores. Your monthly sores. On the tongue and lips plus nomatama. Yeah, that one.
Hey. Okay, now it might have a hormonal factor in it. Naye asooka atunuulire the kind of food she's eating. Webeera spicy, oba erimu lactose mungi, bintu ebyamata ebyo weebityo. Cheese, ebigundi margarine ebyo weebityo. If it is oily, spicy, has gluten, or has lactate in it. Ebyo byo asooke abirye in moderation, alabe which one, akozesa elimination method, alabe which one might be causing that. Asooka alabe nga tetunagenda ku hormonal issues, asooka alabe ebyo, it might be a that issue. Then Edwin Mugerwa, doctor, I did a chest x-ray in 2020, but the results came showing that I have bronchitis, but I don't smoke. What should I do? I took medication. Now I'm okay. Yeah, bronchitis is just basically infection of the bronchioles. These are there's the airway where the air passes. Now that airway subdivides when it's entering the lungs. So now usually you can get infection in those subdivisions with small branches of that airway which enter the lung. That is what bronchitis is. So kati wafunamu infection munda omwo, but fortunately it's easy to treat. Oyinza okuba nga wafuna gundi upper respiratory tract infection nga a common cough biki, naye n'otagitreatinga bulungi, oba n'ogitreatinga wrongly, that might have caused that. Oh yeah, and another thing, 2020 twali tulina COVID, bantu bangi balina issue eyo eya lower respiratory tract infection. Olwa COVID oyo potentiatinga lower respiratory tract infections ezo. Hope I've got you. Antonio at Salmin. That's to science. Okay, that's not to me. There's like a small comment here. I don't know. Alice, good morning, Athan. Doctor, I've just joined. I have my current partner, the oversweet son, has premature ejaculation during the time. So yet he isn't flat. How can I help him? Okay. over sweats. What I know, omuntu waba sweatinga nnyo nga titakoze emirimu mingi, if they've not been physically active, this only means that this person is not fit. The body overstrains to do a certain activity. But what you need to do is to become physically more active and physically more fit. Kijja muyambako okubeera nga takoowa nnyo. Okuswetinga kireetebwa muntu ng'akooye nnyo ng'ate maybe omulimu gw'akoze tegulina usually tegukooya nnyo muntu ali mu age group eyo nnyo waatyo. So kye nandirowooza nti yandifuuse first physically more active alyoka alabe. And by the way, even a sedentary lifestyle, omuntu nga they are not physically active, it also affects your sex life. So asooke agezeeko alabe nga he becomes physically more active, alabe, then we can maybe look at other things, maybe hormonal imbalances, or let him first start eating well, get enough sleep, and become physically active. And we see. Okay. Yeah, I think the comments are done. Arthur, you can come back on.
Ziweddeyo. Waliwo question gye wataalabye. Yabadde, I think yabadde Joshua. Tewagirabye eri hidden for review because erimu ekigambo sex. But he was simply asking that he has spent 3 years without sex. He's abroad. Will he get any problem?
No, basically no. Basically, if you look at from the evolutionary perspective, the purpose of sex is to procreate, to reproduce. So the way our bodies are designed, that urge is always there. We were put here on earth to procreate. So hormones that is normal. Now not having sex it has no issues. Okay, in some research there's a paper I saw where they said there is a risk of prostate cancer if you don't have sex, but it was peer reviewed and it was found not to be very substantial. And I actually also believe that. So I think there is no problem.
Doctor, kindly talk about the types of gearboxes in cars.
The types of gearboxes. CVT.
Michael, today we are strictly talking health. What question now we are King Daniels, doctor? I'm having a problem of forgetting everything. Even these days, I study. I'm abroad. So
Problem of forgetting everything. Body abroad, you're probably not eating the right things, the right foods. There are certain foods that help boost the mental, the nervous system and the mental activity of someone. Kati emmere gye mulya when you're abroad that side, mmere teba nnungi, so I would advise you to take some supplements. Just go to physician akuprescribing some supplements you could take. It is processed food which usually doesn't have some of these important nutrients that will boost the brain. So kati consult with your physician akubulire which supplements because you take and then you see what to do. Then you might also just need to clear your mind. Yinza okuba nga olina brain block nga you don't get enough free time, obeera mu buli kaseera, you don't get to unwind or you don't rest enough. That can also affect your productivity.
Kati doctor nange nyine ekibuuzo ekyange. Of course kati waliwo ebintu bye tulina okudiscourage nga JK, how do you go 5 years? How do you go 5 years? Bantu mwe nedda. 5 years nga nnyo kati bw'ofiiramu egyo emyaka 5 Katonda omugamba ki? Naye kati
sometimes for us as men, when you deprive yourself of bino ebyamasanyu ennyo, ate olowooza nnyo, become very productive mentally. Kyova olaba in some abantu abasinga okubeera successful bava mu lifestyle eri deprived, bali tebalina bingi, obeera olina drive nyingi. Sex abantu abasinga ebajjamu okuva mubeera mu kwepiica bwepiica, temuleeza kunoonya ssente.
nkwakanyamu lwa nsonga. I find that weepiica otuuka n'obikowa n'oga kati nfa kinensi n'otandika okufokasa.
Sex akoweka sebo olinda.
Otuuka n'okukoowa.
Si ku musajja, ku bakazi kisoboka. Naye as long as okyalina normal testosterone n'ow'emyaka 7, ninaze gamanyi patient wa myaka 97 naye alina omukazi wa myaka 28.
Amukozesa ki?
Agenda nakuzaala
omwana wuwe. Mwamukolako paternity.
omwana se omusajja afunctioninga paka ng'afudde.
Doctor, nze ekibuuzo kyange kiri is it normal? Probably Daniel Ranga ajja kukyongerako kuba ye engeri gyali mu byobwonge eyo psychiatrist. Is it normal? Nze I work better when I multitask. Katulaba nga bwe tuli wano ku live broadcast. I have the live broadcast and I'm working here. Kati naddayo okusoma. I sit in class as they are talking. Byenkola wano mba hyper. Basomesa nkola olumbye basomesa byenkola. Is it normal? Nze bwe mba nkola ekintu kimwe biseere mu neebowa mangu n'entandika n'okusumagira. So I find that normally when I'm doing two things, I'm super productive. Byebasomesa bali mbikwata nnyo, for example, nebyenkola ne bitambula nnyo. Is it a normal thing oba nabwo bulwadde? Omanyi mwe abasawo mugenda buli kimu kifuula obulwadde.
It's actually very normal. There are people who actually function better when there is background noise. By background noise, it's I read Bill Clinton's biography. Naye, the man is the ultimate tasker. Akola ebintu nga bitaano at the same time. He can read the paper, the newspaper, mawulire, eno bali bamubriefinga nga muwanga ekigenda mu maaso, eno anywa chai, eno akola ki, like when he's doing so many things and he was functioning. They get bored easily. Ye character yaabwe. Ate osanga mu buto nga baali balalu nnyo, like nga baali active. So it is normal. Going down to, of course, someone's genetics. Naye nga tekirina buzibu kibeerawo. Naye ate wekifuuka too much, nakyo kiyinza okuwearinga out. You tend to more than you can chew. Naye wewe emirimu sanga mukozeeko halfway. So you have to be cautious in the way if you do things like that. But there are people who function like that normally. Ndabe okay, JK na when Doctor,
ate ebibuuzo muweddeyo.
in time I concentrated a lot on self development here.
Because doctor atuwadde obudde. If you have another question for the doctor, please kiteekeyo kati. Njagala muleka agenda njagala agenda omule yakoze night shift. Then ekirala doctor nga bwe tulinamu abo ebibuuzo twawemu eddakiika 2. Is your life as glamorous as we see it on House? Of course, House is not really that glamorous, but the way simanyi oba wali olabe House.
Hey, house etwagiwa mu medical school.
Kati
Hey, there's no
House
doctor who wasn't house.
waliwo ne Grey's Anatomy. Waliwo nene endala bagiyita bateno oyo no guy ali autistic. Sigimanyi linnya. There are some medical TV shows that I've watched, and it's like you guys guys enjoy your job of course, like you gamble sometimes ngamba temumanyi bigenda maaso naye of course with experience of
by the way, in our medical training, we are trained. You'd rather not answer a question than giving a wrong answer. Actually, we had negative marking. If you answer a question wrongly, they deduct half a mark. This was to train us to be able to treat patients that we can manage. Once you mismanage, so kati obeera olina ne judgment eyo n'omanya nti nnyinza obutamusobola so maybe these days we have to commercial
but is your life as glamorous as we see it? Like you guys enjoy it too much? You make too much money? Yeah?
Life here in Uganda is different from it is painted. What medical field is painted to be like outside Uganda. Kubanga here we are in a third world country. First of all of us we come to medical school. You're going to Uganda cook. Kizimbe Kampala Road, probably otekewe eddwaliro lyo ki naye after you finish internship nokola, because me I've been in the field for now 8 years, naye otuuka nga the most important, the biggest issue in Uganda here is the payment, because the Ugandan doctor is paid the least in East Africa. Tewali sente wano, ate oba toyina sente, there is a lot of things you can't do. So most of us, call here and there. Ate as a doctor, you're supposed to maintain. Kwa kati nga doctor, omwana doctor, I know tambulira mu Land Cruiser. Doctor tayinza pangisa katanga. I know
doctor.
Ukiraba. So kati osanga nga even where you work, you're expected to be smart. Naye nga ne sente ze bakuwa. Balaba toyinza nagula ngoye ezo ze baagala oyambale. So it becomes complex. Obeera olina okujumpinga from site to site. Kyebosanga tukola emirimu mingi trying to make ends meet. Naye our life is basically naye it's about understanding the climate early. No readjusting. So you find that these newer doctors, they are better prepared because they know, they've seen the landscape and they know the environment. Naye kati abafulumanga, you have this basic idea of how life is going to be. Some of them get depressed, abana bagenda addicted to narcotics. I know some colleagues butabika kati, they go through a lot. And the kind of work we do is quite traumatic, by the way. Kubanga, as a normal human being, you develop relationships with people, with patients. Patient who ajja n'akulaba kine munyumyamu, then the next time you come, nebagamba we yafudde jjo. So with time kituuka ne kikuaffectinga. Sometimes muyinza okuba nga probably operating, then the patient doesn't make it. In most cases, it's not your fault. Naye, you might take it on yourself, probably I did something, even if you didn't do anything wrong. And in Uganda, there are no proper structures of mental health support for medical professionals. So osanga nga abasawo abasinga, they bottle in a lot of resentment, a lot of stress, bintu nga babikeepinga in. Kyova osanga most patients themselves tebagala nnyo creating relationships with their patients. Osanga nga bali rude, oli avuma abalwadde, tebagala nnyo getting close, kubanga when you get close, there's a high chance that relationship end well. So it's not as glamorous as it looks. As you keep on learning about the economy and how the economical, how you can economically juggle the so you learn, no surviving, but there's nothing fancy about being a doctor, I tell you. Think about it, even yeah.
Thank you very much for that insight. I realize ekyabasawo obutagala kola attachments. There is a doctor in Mengo Hospital when nali nkyagenda we bamuyita Dr. Mujabi. He's I wouldn't say he's actually rude, but omulaba nga he tries as much as possible to detach. Whenever you can crack a joke, naja ni cracking. You try to be light, nakimenya. He tries as much. I think I'm sajja mukadde. The last time I saw him, aleka ali myaka nga 7, but he tries. He's trying to create a wall between you and him. I think that's totally true. What abuuziza ekibuuzo wano nti what is the recommended price for a full checkup including blood tests? Then afterwards waliwo question bbiri. Temuddamu kubuuza bibuuzo, njagala dokita tumuleka agende. Bino ebibuuzo tusembeyo n'ekibuuzo kya Seth Kagaba. Kino ekibuuzo kye mugambe dokita kiri waggulu kya Mark W. Buuza what is the recommended price for a full checkup including blood tests, then waliwo n'endala wansi.
We live, several Mark W, we live in a money economy. So it depends on where you're doing it from. But these tests are usually cheaper if you go to a lab directly. Now, the disadvantage with that, you have to know what you're going to do. Well, these tests are subjective. Well, a standard lab, if I give an example, maybe Lancet or MBN, they have a panel of over 5,000 tests you can do. So the function of a doctor here is to narrow them down. Taking a history, then he knows exactly that now this person may be at risk of this. Basically, work to know your general appearance. He's able to narrow them down, and he tells you the basic tests you should do. But basically, the tests are cheaper if you go direct to a lab. Kwango bero cutting out some Kwanga hospital, you have to pay for using the service there. You have to basically charges zibera wagguluko. Now the disadvantage with that, ogenda direct to a lab, they might write for you useless tests, and you find in the end you end up with even more. If you could go to a doctor nakuwandikira tests ezo and you go yourself to a lab ne bajjako samples ezo, I think it would be much cheaper if you don't do it from a hospital. I think so. It would make more sense. What else? doctors earn insane money. Yes, definitely. I have my cousin.
But
Money she
the
earns
money she earns
20 times what I earn here in Uganda. Okay. This is Anthony Nimbus. My wife is having ulcers, but most of the time she gets severe headache and upper abdominal pain. How can I treat her? On Monday she went for a scan. Yeah, in most cases, in some cases, when ulcers take so long, they cause what we call an ulcer is a small wound, is a wound in a viscera. Using many words now, it's a small wound in an area inside the body. So when that wound is left untreated, chigenda chesima. So at some point, oyinza osanga work. So that's why if you start getting symptoms of ulcers, try as much as possible to treat them as early as possible. Ziwaseninga ne zibeera nga babeera balina okukola endoscopy, probably ne bazicauterizinga. Cauterizing bateekamu ekyuma munda ne bazookyako okureducinga depth yaazo, kubanga eddagala teriyinza kukola when they are too deep. They are too deep to heal on their own. So I don't know if the scan you mean is endoscopy, but that's a recommended one. Wagenda mu endoscopy, they know the extent of the ulcers and they know exactly what to do. Then Seth Kagaba, hi doctor, kindly explain how watching affects our sex life. Does it have any side effects? This would be the area of a psychologist, but psychologically, it actually affects. These pornography and watching these other things, this what we call a dopamine effect. Dopamine is a very dangerous hormone. It's a hormone of satisfaction. So when dopamine is surging in your body for long periods of dopamine is a satisfaction hormone, a contentment hormone. So kati webere surging in your body, it causes psychologically, it will reduce your amount of drive as a man. Ofuka animal. Chovola abantu, most people who are addicted to drugs, they have no drive to do anything else. Even alcohol, osanga omuntu nga they even have no drive to eat. They are just satisfied as they are. They cannot work, they lose their jobs, family break up, because they have that calming satisfaction effect. Yet by nature, human beings, men, we are designed to be seekers, to try and make things happen, to reproduce, to naye kati living that lifestyle ekuletereyo dopamine effect eyo nobeera nga you are laid back, toyina motivation to do anything. Similar to also serotonin. My serotonin also is it has a different mechanism and the way it comes in. Naye nga definitely it will psychologically affect you. Even ne psychologist ayina engeri gy'ajja explaining naye it has that calming effect which is basically not good.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Jonathan. N'ababuuzizza ebibuuzo kansuubire you're very satisfied and I'm very happy. I can't take your field for granted without doctors. Simanyi na bwe twalibaddewo. Of course nze buli oyina byeyogedde ebisinga byendabira ddala nga they have been in my life. 2019 nalina pressure. When I shifted to Matuga, one of the reasons I shifted was to get plenty of exercise. And when I started exercising, pressure again, I'm in the normal now.
Me too, by the way.
Walina.
Nze nalina olubuto nga lukomino. I don't know, I'll share my pictures. Nga lukomino. Where I got to intern, when I just finished internship, manyi sente ezo zi excitinga nnyo. Manyi omaze internship, and that time I was working when naina akatandika I was working one job. Naye after some time, because I had kept applying, and then all these people they called me, so I started earning some good money. Naye nga emirimu mingi, I started earning some good money. Naye nga I adapted a certain lifestyle, nga buli lunaku nina okulyayo pizza with all the other meals. Breakfast, Kwanga, I remember I was working there at Buganda Road there. All those hospitals actually I've worked in them. So in the morning I would take mandazis like you. Go tero okugula ali kugundi. I would take mandazi and tea. Then mid morning there, ne batuwayo samosas and milk tea. Lunch awo nendyayo gundi a full plate mmere nga ngiyiipinze wenti. Nendyayo full plate ne fanta nga 2 around 4 there. Netufunayo ka evening tea awo. Kati awo omanyi kati e Kampala awo there is always an offer in every restaurant there. Offer one get one free. So kati now the people I was working with, they were so used nti nogula pizza buli lunaku. So I would buy one large pizza and an extra one. So the people I was working with, they eat one, me I eat the one large pizza with 2 sodas. I did that for 3 years. Naye sebo, with all the work I was doing, nali ntandise n'okuddu. Actually, now I have gray hair actually, but it was much worse those days. That time I was, I think, as 27, 28. Naye I looked old. People used to think I'm 40. Now actually I'm much older because almost 6 years ago. But I look much younger than I looked when I was even much younger. Eh?
Let me
So
what causes gray hair? Because nze ebirevu byankati birimu envi, omutwe gwonna gwonna gufuuse gwa nvi. Bangamba stress ki ekireeta gray hair?
Stress kyekituuka n'okulya obubi, even not exercising.
Doctor nze nga nziruka ekitono nnyo kilomita 3 a week.
How often?
I run on Saturday and Sunday because those are the days I can run in the morning.
Kati awo kiyinza okuba n'endya yinza okuba sirungi.
Ate kiri genetic ekitegeeza kuba nze sirina muntu gwe mmanyi ayina nvi okujja kale sayidi ya maama wange bo balina envi mpitirivu.
Naye kati singa kibadde genetic naye kati wekibeera nga olina emyaka oba ogyeko Mike Senior?
Oh, sorry, I'm 33 now.
Gwe okyali mwana muto.
Naye nalina akavi akasooka nga nina nga 23 akasooka kalinga wano.
You still very young. I'm much older than you.
Naye kati naawe envi nawe wazifuna dda.
Naye kati zikendedde when I changed my lifestyle. Nze ekyali kireeta envi nali ntandise okukadiwa because of the lifestyle has been. Nengezaako okusooka I bought a bike. Emaaso n'emmotoka nali ngikwata sikyagivuga. I bought a bike nga navuga akagaali nenvuga akagaali. I was just adding weight. I was just adding. Navuga akagaali for 2 years. Nothing was changing. Nentuuka because where I was working, there was this, it was a tall building. I have to climb stairs. Nentuuka nga no longer climb stairs. I would reach the upper floor when I'm sweating. Newuuba kumacha webuti. You reach go sweating, gwenna enkwawa ziriwo eziti, you know. Ne babuuza ono teyanaabye ki? So even I would check my pressure. My turning point was when I checked my pressure. It was 157 over 100. And that time I was 27 years. Until now, for me, the problem I have is my dad also has pressure and he has diabetes. So that was my turning point. Nengula akagaali, I trying to pedal bichi, but I was just increasing weight. Till I talked to a certain friend of mine. I will not mention his name, but he's well known. He's a nutritional doctor. He's on Twitter. I talked to him and he actually advised me. He advised me that you have to change the kind of food you eat. You have to reduce the amount of meals you have. And it took me actually, I think, 1.5 years to reduce all the weight. Weight yonanevaako in 1.5 years just from quitting sugar and junk food. My patients a lot. If you can, reduce the amount of sugar, and if possible, leave sugar completely out of you. Because sugar, from when I quit sugar, those days when I was still living that lifestyle, by 2, every single day, even if I slept at 7, even if I slept at 10, by 2 p.m., I start dozing. But from when I quit sugar, I stopped dozing. I became more clear-minded. Like, there are some tasks you can give yourself, and to judge your mental aptitude. So I realized that as more clear-minded, nga nkwata ebintu mangu, I could remember things, and as get of your diet has a lot of advantages. I don't know, so many advantages. I really encourage people, because my colleagues, okay, let's continue as he comes back. So my colleagues who I studied with look at me and they even wonder what I do, because I look much younger than them. Because if I told you guys how old I am, you would not. The meals had a lot of sugar. Yes. I was living a very terrible. Antikati now, the problem over otandise okola kasente. You buli kimu oyagala kyetuusaako. Olaba ka pizza, you want to eat. You only live once. Life is short. Nenga, life is short, but it is precious. You have to. I look 40. Are you sure? Tondaba bulungi then.